Guys, welcome back to another video. We have some more information here about the Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition. This is an article here from Bloomberg saying Microsoft's Brad Smith, as we know, president of Microsoft, is set for talks with the UK Chancellor over the Activision deal ban. So they're going to talk about, obviously, the CMA blocking the deal and I guess how they can move forward with Microsoft's concerns over this decision. It says President Brad Smith will meet with the UK Chancellor Jeremy Hunt next week to voice his frustration over the shock decision by Britain's competition regulator to block the $69 billion takeover. Now, for a lot of people, this was a very shocking decision because before this deal was made, or before this decision was made, I should say, there was lots of articles coming out where people were predicting that the CMA would go ahead and pass this deal. Analysts believe that the CMA would approve this deal with remedies for cloud gaming, especially after we saw the CMA drop the console theory of harm in the high-end console market, which was a definition that was created in the discussions for this deal, which would exclude the Nintendo Switch, which doesn't make very much sense because it was looking at the market without one of the biggest players in the market. I mean, the Nintendo Switch, yes, is not as powerful as the current PS5 and the Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, but it's still part of the main console market there that competes between the three consoles. But that was excluded and it made it look like the PlayStation had a much bigger market share over Xbox, which I believe helped lead to the CMA dropping the console theory of harm. So people thought that was a very good sign that the CMA was going to go ahead and prove this deal. Then they were also looking at the 10-year deals that Microsoft was making with the cloud gaming providers, and that would have been a good enough remedy, but the CMA still decided to block the deal. And as we know right now, they're going through the appeals process. It continues here and says Smith is set to hold talks with Hunt as well as officials from the Competition and Markets Authority, the agency that wielded the April 26 veto, according to people familiar with the talks who spoke on condition of anonymity. Smith is expected to point to the benefits of the acquisition for gamers and push back against the move to block the industry's largest merger, a decision that will soon play out in a special UK antitrust court. And when it comes to benefits to the gamers, there's going to be a lot of debate about this. There's people who are solely against this because it is a massive corporation like Xbox, Microsoft, a $1 trillion corporation. They're going out there and purchasing the biggest publisher in video games, essentially in Activision, and that's just a major consolidation, and a lot of people are against that just because it's two major corporations coming together. And I can understand that you don't want major consolidation where there are just a couple of corporations running everything, but the reality of the situation is with this acquisition, there's still so much competition within the video games industry, and in terms of the benefits to the gamers, I believe personally that it will benefit gamers more because it will provide more access to these games to more people. And if this deal doesn't ultimately go through, then we already know Activision isn't going to be putting their games onto cloud gaming services as they have said. We know that the work environment at Activision is much worse than at Microsoft. And we also know that in general, Xbox with their entire strategy is the best value in gaming with Game Pass, with putting games day one into the subscription service. And for a lot of people out there, that is the main reason why they want this deal to happen, so that they can play the upcoming Call of Duty, Diablo 4 at some point, all within the subscription service of Xbox. Game Pass will benefit gamers majorly, being able to save a ton of money off of paying full price for these games and getting access to them day and date on Xbox Game Pass. Now, Hunt previously actually criticized the CMA's veto, telling a business conference recently that competition watchdogs must understand their wider responsibilities, which I guess you could take as a shot at the CMA, that they should be there to protect the market, create competition, but have reasonable reasons to do this. A lot of people think that this appeal is going to show the irrationality in the CMA's decision just because of the reasonings that they use specifically when they look at the cloud gaming market. Also, the fact that they say Activision is going to go out there and potentially put their games on cloud streaming services with or without this deal, even though we've heard Activision come out and say that they won't. And if you look at the numbers, why would they at this point where Call of Duty is the number one selling game every single year already on multiple platforms? This isn't the same thing as like PlayStation locking their games to literally one console knowing that they have to expand out, which they are doing with more PC games. They're going to go harder into cloud gaming. This is a game that is already on every console except for the Switch, which if this deal goes through will come onto the Switch, but it's also on PC, it's on Xbox, on PlayStation. It's already available to a broad range of people. And Activision obviously knows they're a first-person shooter that thrives on the multiplayer aspect of this game, and there's a lot of people out there that wouldn't want to play Call of Duty via cloud gaming because of the latency, because you'll probably do worse online playing in cloud gaming. So I wouldn't see them putting it on cloud gaming if this deal doesn't go through. Now, despite Hunt's comments, one of the people said government ministers were unhappy with some of Smith's criticisms of the CMA in interviews, in which he claimed that the European Union, which approved the takeover, was a better place to do business than the UK. Well, I mean, of course he's going to say that because the European Union, the European Commission approved the deal. They looked at the remedies and they made the decision to approve the Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition. Now, they continue here and say the government holds no formal role in the enforcement of the country's competition rules, but members of the CMA board are appointed by the UK's business department. And I mean, I don't live in the UK. I don't fully understand how it all works, but they always go back to the government doesn't hold any formal role in the enforcement of this type of stuff. And they always have these bodies like the CMA that have government agencies actually choosing the people who are in there, but then say that the government has no say in what is going on. The reality is, at least in my mind, that the government is going to appoint people that are going to work in their favor generally. And I feel like they would do the same with the CMA, but here it almost seems like it's kind of backfiring on them in terms of the CMA trying to grab too much power. Now, Brad Smith is also going to sit down with Microsoft's legal representatives to discuss the firm's strategy to counter the CMA decision, laying out a series of options that the company could take to save the deal. And we saw the article yesterday where they said that Microsoft was meeting with more lawyers to try to figure out ways to still close this deal if it is blocked in the UK. And one of those ways would be to actually pull out the Activision Blizzard games from the UK, get another third party publisher or distributor of these games. So if that happens, we are going to see a difference between Game Pass in the United States, in Canada, in the EU, and in the UK. And I feel like for UK gamers out there, that is an extremely unfortunate thing. And they're probably pretty pissed off at the CMA's decision. If, for example, if you live in the UK, you're not going to get Activision Blizzard games day and date into the Xbox Game Pass service. Maybe at least specifically the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate service where cloud gaming is there. And it even says this here, that one extreme option could be to bypass the UK order and press ahead with the deal, or withdraw Activision from the UK market, one of the people said, confirming earlier reports by the regulatory news outfit MLEX. And again, MLEX here, which is just that website where you actually have to have an account and you have to be granted an account, sign up, all the type of stuff to get that information, making its way out here onto the bigger news sites, with the back and forth that we've seen recently over the last couple of weeks between Florian Mueller, Foss Patents calling out IDAS for actually posting MLEX information for the public to essentially see. It says the company is also likely to draw on the EU's findings in its legal arguments against the CMA after the EU merger officials conditionally approved the record-breaking gaming merger last month. Microsoft and Chancellor's office declined to comment, and Activision didn't immediately respond to a request for comments. The confidential discussions will take place as Smith takes part in London Tech Week, an event aimed at boosting the UK's technology industry, which is an interesting time to go in there and talk, and an interesting time for this tech week as this entire thing is going down, because it seems like right now the entire world is looking at the UK as a place that maybe they don't want to do as much business in anymore because of what the decision that they have made with the Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition. So we'll see what happens. We know that this appeal is slated to start at the end of July, actually beginning the week of July 24th, and she'll last for a number of days. And then we'll have more information to see what happens with the appeal and potentially what Microsoft is going to have to do moving forward if they want to continue to close this deal without having the blessing from the CMA. But I will leave the video there, guys. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.